When my sister came back after 12 long years, I thought it was a miracle. She stood on my doorstep trembling, clutching an old photo of us as little girls beside our father's porch swing. Her eyes, once wild with defiance, were soft again. I didn't see the storm behind them, only the sister I'd prayed for. I let her in, believing time had healed her heart. I didn't yet know forgiveness can sometimes be the sharpest knife. Before we continue, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to hear my story. If you're comfortable, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is where you are. Our childhood was carved into that old wooden house. My father built it himself, beam by beam, after my mother died. Every creak in the floor, every rusted nail, held his love. My sister Lila was the wild one. I was the quiet one who stayed. After high school, she vanished, chasing a man who promised her everything. He gave her bruises instead. I spent years worrying, then years resenting her, and finally, years missing her. When she showed up again, thin as a shadow, I opened my arms without thinking. We spent nights on the porch, drinking tea, talking about the past. She said she was sorry, over and over until her voice cracked. I believed her. I wanted to. I thought maybe life had finally taught her what home really meant. I didn't notice the way she avoided certain questions, or how her eyes lingered on the old family deed framed in the hallway. A few weeks later, she asked me if I'd ever thought of selling the house. The question pierced me. Sell it? I laughed softly. This is all we have left of Dad. She smiled, a strange, distant smile, and said, Of course. Just wondering. I brushed it off. She was trying to adjust, I told myself. She had nothing. I had everything stable. Maybe it was my turn to help her. So I gave her trust like a gift, and she took it. That summer was the closest we'd been since childhood. We cooked together, painted the porch rails, even sang Dad's old radio songs. It felt like the home was breathing again, like forgiveness had lit it up from inside. But then, one morning, I came home from the market and saw a car parked outside. A black sedan I hadn't seen since high school. When the driver stepped out, I froze. It was Mrs. Hanley. My stomach turned cold. Mrs. Hanley was the mother of the girl who'd made our childhood a living nightmare. Her daughter Claire used to taunt Lila and me about our mother's death. She'd spread cruel lies, steal our notebooks, and laugh when Dad came to school to defend us. The Hanleys had money. We had dignity. That was all we clung to. So, seeing her standing in front of our gate, smiling politely, made every memory rise like a ghost I'd buried. She extended her hand, saying she was so happy about the sale. My chest tightened. The what? I asked. Lila came running out, her voice shaking. I was going to tell you, I swear. My world slowed. Mrs. Hanley handed me a folder with legal documents, my father's signature copied, notarized, and dated. The deed sold to her. The house I was born in, the garden where Dad planted roses for Mom, gone. My sister sold it. For a moment I couldn't even breathe. I just stared at Lila, waiting for the truth to undo itself. She kept saying she needed money, that it was temporary, that she'd fix it. But betrayal doesn't fix. It burns. My hands trembled as I held that folder, smelling the ink, feeling the weight of 1,000 broken memories. She had sold our father's legacy to the one family that destroyed our peace. Forgiveness shattered like glass between us. I left that night. I couldn't stay under that roof another second. I slept in my car near the river, where Dad used to take us fishing. I remember looking at the stars and whispering, "You built that house for love, and now it's gone." The next morning, I drove to the county records office. I didn't want revenge, just answers. What I found stunned me. The documents had been forged. Lila's boyfriend, the same man who'd abused her, helped her do it. The sheriff called it a civil matter. The law said signatures mattered more than stories. But I wasn't about to let my father's house rot in someone else's hands. I sold my car, borrowed from an old friend, and hired an attorney. For months I fought for that deed. I attended hearings where Lila sat across from me, head low, unable to meet my eyes. I could see the guilt eating her alive. Yet the papers didn't care. One rainy morning, my lawyer called. "We won," he said. My knees gave out. The court had voided the sale, citing fraudulent transfer. The house was mine again, not because of revenge, but because truth finally found a voice. I drove straight to that house. The porch paint had peeled, the roses had wilted. But when I stepped inside, it felt like Dad was there again, whispering, "You did good, kiddo." I sank to the floor and wept. Lila came a week later. Her eyes were hollow, her hands trembling. She said she'd entered rehab, that she wanted to make things right. I told her I couldn't hate her, but I couldn't forget either. Forgiveness, I realized, isn't always an open door. Sometimes it's a quiet boundary that keeps both souls from bleeding again. I hugged her once and let her go. This time not out of anger, but peace. Now, when I sit on that porch, I feel the wind through the old wood and hear my father's laughter echoing faintly. I keep the door unlocked, not for her, but for memory, because despite everything, love still lives here. And if you've ever been betrayed by someone you loved, know this: your worth isn't tied to what they broke. It's in what you rebuild. Thank you for staying with me until the end. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a comment about where you're listening from, and subscribe for more true stories like this. It helps more than you know, and it reminds me that kindness still finds its way home.